Oh, yeah. What's going on? Good morning, everyone. I know it's 10 minutes early than I scheduled this bad boy to start, but honestly, I'm ready to get this day going. Good morning, everybody out there. If you're watching this on the replay on YouTube or on Facebook, good afternoon or evening, whatever time you're catching up with us here. I'm glad to have you. We are live here at the On the Gunline Podcast YouTube channel, streaming as well on Facebook, on my personal page, and on my On the Gunline Podcast Facebook page. So, speaking of which, I got to open that up so that I'm not leaving out my viewers on the personal page. So, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. It's been a heck of a week, hasn't it? Last week, happy Monday. We're starting off a new one this week, new month to go with it. Can you believe that we are already in the month of September, y'all? It's the first of the month. Gotta grind, gotta get mine in the hood that I climb and I slang on a double nine. Gotta find them dubs. Can it the good love? Come inside my corner. You're gonna. St. Clair don't like that. And making that money, selling them dummies, come back, bap, bap, bap. And if you noticed, I'm censoring myself because, well, I think it's time we stopped using that word. Who am I to say what word can be used and what word shouldn't be used? Obviously, we have the right to freedom of speech. However, some words I think are just time to let them go. And that word is the N word, y'all. I was just having a conversation with Lee Hunt, friend of the podcast, co-host, as I mean, you could say, and we were just having this conversation. I have a lot of other topics I'm going to talk about, but this one just popped up because, look, man, I'm not going to lie to you. I am guilty of using that word myself, and not in the way, in the way, being that it was basically part of the vernacular or just a form of speaking of where I grew up at. I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, growing up there in the 80s and in the 90s. One of the few Hispanic families on that block, or you just within my neighborhood itself. It was predominantly black folks, all right? Predominantly black folks. So I'm gonna give you a general idea. If you're from LA, you might understand where I'm coming from as far as like what area. But I grew up between Broadway and San Pedro. All right. Um, for predominantly at first, when I was first growing up, I was off of Wall Street and 87th Street. All right. Which is the heart of the hood where I grew up in. And then I stayed there till I was about 8 years old. And then we moved to 87th Place and Broadway, between Main and Broadway. So the first couple of years I was between Main and Wall, and then the rest of my growing up years was between 87th and between Main and Broadway. So the reason I tell you that is because growing up there in the 90s and in the 80s, specifically in the 80s, it was about 90% black folk, 10% Hispanics. So you kind of pick up on the speech patterns and the wording and stuff that you're around, you're influenced by it. um so yeah, the N word was part of that vernacular, I guess they say, right? And honestly, I didn't even know it was a racist term until I was like in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, when I went to Bethune. And because I'm seriously, the way I say bro now or dude, that word would have been the N word that would have been dropping. And that's just because that's the way we spoke. And we didn't have no issues with the brothers because we grew up with them. And they always called us that little N word, that Mexican little N word. You know what I mean? So, anywho, I was having this discussion right now with my homie. He was doing some Ubering earlier, and apparently he had a drunk ass soldier he had to pick up early in the morning, uh, doing his Uber shift, and it was a kid from Wisconsin. Uh, and apparently, while they were talking, he ended up dropping the N word. And so the homie, slammed on the brake, like, whoa, 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 hey, dog, don't be using that word around me. I ain't that person. I ain't the one that you can speak to like that. And the kid, immediately apologized. He thought everything was cool. He thought he could get away with saying stuff like that, thinking he could get that Paul Wall type pass. You know what I mean? I don't even know if Paul Wall even has ever said it or not, but I say Paul Wall pass because, Paul Wall is definitely, it wouldn't surprise me if he has that pass to say that word. But getting away from these passes, as I've gotten older, I still used it, but not as much as I did growing up. Even up into my 20s and 30s, I was still using it, but only around my type of people. In other words, my folks that I grew up with, black Mexicans, and that I grew up around because that's just the way we speak to each other. And even in the army, there were certain personnel that I would speak to using that word, and it was never an issue because again, they could see I wasn't just one of those that had just picked up on the word and was trying to act cool or be cool, be part of it. No, it was just something that just automatically came out of my mouth. And as I've gotten older, when I speak to my brothers, we tend to call each other that word as well. And I think it's time I eliminate it completely out of my vocabulary. Um, Simply because the pain that it does bring others. You know what I mean? And what kind of an image or example am I setting for my kids when they hear me talking to their uncles? You know what I mean? Or, to my homies. I still talk to some of my homies from back in the day, from back in LA, and we still drop it here and there, but we've changed it more to the my boy, like on my homie type deal versus the my N word. Again, I know that it's a controversial topic about Hispanics using that word, Latinos, raza, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that we definitely need to shy away from. There's brothers out there that don't like that word being used, and I feel them 100%, man. I mean, why should that word be used out there? You know, um, it's been used to it's been used as a way to basically degrade humans. And so I'm gonna go ahead and make a more of an effort that when I'm speaking with my folks from back in the day, and it does slip out. Have made a honest freaking I've made an honest attempt to stop using it. But with that, it comes out just like in regular conversation. You know what I mean? So, anywho, we'll go ahead and just leave that there. And that's what I wanted to talk about in the beginning was the N word. How do y'all feel about it? Let me know. Tap in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. I mean, I'm sure everybody is in agreement that we shouldn't be using that word at all anyway. So this is going to be pretty much a live word on the streets is what we're doing today. It's a live word on the street. So if you tap in, you want to comment, go ahead and comment. If you want to jump on, let me know, and I will put the link into the comments section if you guys want to jump on, and I'll be glad to have you all in here, man. It's definitely a good way to start a Monday. I know in the West Coast it's only 8:30 in the morning. Out in the East Coast it's 11:30. Here in the great nation of Texas, it is now 10:30. What's going on, Big Kramer? How you doing? Welcome to the live recording, man. Um, so Kramer, I know you're from out there down south. How's things out there right now in Louisiana, big dog? How are things going out in your way? Over here, it's a beautiful, rainy, muggy day, big dog. So, but that's about all that I was going to tap on that N word topic. Now, let's go ahead and move over to the real topics I want to talk about today. So, if you guys jump in, let me know what y'all think. But we're going to start off with the very first topic of the day, the Kamala interview at CNN. All right. This is going to be basically a recap of last week, is basically what I want to do today, just to get some content out there, get everybody's day going, have my coffee, have a conversation with y'all. And so yeah, we're gonna talk about Kamala's interview at CNN, y'all. Let's see. Good, just hot and muggy, waiting on that rain. I feel you on that, man. I mean, it is Louisiana, and it is always hot and muggy out there anyway, so it's not something new. So let me. I don't know how many of you all saw that interview that Kamala did last week on Thursday. Let me take a sip of my coffee real quick. And honestly, I wouldn't even call that an interview. That was more of a I'm guessing that what that was, honestly, was her trying to show like I can sit down and have a conversation with people. But truth be told, there was nothing about that that seemed like it was hard hitting or policy driven content. You know, it was a 1 hour show, and that 1 hour show was literally condensed to 18 minutes of her. That's all she did was speak for 18 minutes. And that, well, and that's not even her speaking. That was the interview portion, was 18 minutes long. Somebody did the maths on it. Kramer said, I didn't get to see it, had a busy week last week. Hey, I understand, big dog. And you know what the crazy part is? You didn't miss much. I mean, you can just go to YouTube and Google it, and and YouTube it, and you, you won't hear anything new, because when she was hit with some of the questions that I thought, that they were going to ask her to expound on, for example, the fracking. When they asked her about the fracking, being that Pennsylvania, it depends on fracking, I guess, is one of the ways that their economy rolls. She went ahead and said something along the lines of like, well, I guess in 2019, Kamala had said that she was absolutely against fracking, absolutely gonna get rid of it. But then when she was asked about it by Dana Bash on CNN, she said, well, I in 2020 in the debate, I said that I wasn't going to ban fracking. So when she pressed her on it again, like, well, you said this in 2019, she came back once again as a vice president in 2020. I said I wasn't going to do it. I didn't push for it. And as president, I won't push for it. But here's the thing. Like, I mean, I understand people change their minds, once they get new evidence or they see that maybe they were wrong in their points of views. But no, she doubled down on it, saying, no, well, my values haven't changed. And she still sees fracking as a negative thing that needs to get taken care of and done away with. But in order for her to get those political votes, she's going to go ahead and say that whatever you need to hear in order to vote for her. So honestly, she wasn't really pressed on it at all, to me, in my opinion. Had that been, Vance or Waltz up there, I'm sure they would have pressed on them harder. Kind of like that one chick did with Trump during his town hall, where Trump was up there and she kept pressing him about, do you want Ukraine to lose? Do you want Russia to win? And she kept like pressing on him, wanting a more specific answer. And I think Trump, he handled that perfectly with I just want people to stop dying. You know what I mean? And she did not like that answer, but she wasn't being pressed at all. And then Kramer says that's like abortion. She was against it. Now her ad campaign commercial, she's for it. So she's been back and forth 100%. And here's the thing about abortion. I think we're all in a consensus that it's not something that should be taken lightly. Aborting a child is definitely a horrific and horrible thing. Are there times when it may be needed? Yes, I am in agreement with that. Even though I am pro-life, as people call it, I believe that there are situations that merit the necessity of terminating a pregnancy. And those are the usual suspects, which is, when there's unwanted physical touch by someone. I'm trying to avoid saying the words by someone, or when there's also, unwanted on unwarranted physical touch to minors, and the result is a pregnancy. I can definitely see the reasoning for it. Also, when the child's mother is in danger of losing her life or causing her life to pretty much be gone and stop breathing, I definitely get it. Gotta go, and then of course I believe, if this is one of my beliefs, if the child's quality of life is going to be affected, and now by that I mean if the child is going to be deformed or not going to be, if the child is going to just be dependent on the care of the family, of the mother and father for the rest of its life, then there's no reason for that child to have to suffer through that. Have some dignity. The child will not have any dignity. So those are the situations. But when it becomes a question about doing it because it was an accidental mishap that occurred when two adults engaged in pleasure as if they didn't know what the outcome would be, then that's just being selfish, in my opinion. And now I'll even give you up to I think give you past the first trimester. You know what I mean? To go ahead and get that taken care of, to get it done. First trimester, because the first trimester is the scariest one. You can always have a miscarriage during that time. So even though I believe that once there's a heartbeat, once there's brain function, that it hey, you know what? You made your bed, now lay in it. You know what I mean? That's just my point of view on that. But with that, at the same time, I think that it needs not be a form of contraception. If your pullout game is weak, that's on you. You should have wore something to strap up before you hit that rodeo. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. And of course we're all gonna differ on it. But my problem is when it starts getting into the, oh, you can have a termination of a pregnancy up to and before you give birth. You know what I mean? And it's that verbiage right there that you'll hear people say, well, nobody's doing that. Yeah, nobody's doing that according to you right now. But what's to stop them from doing that? You see what I'm saying? What's to stop them from doing that? That's the issue that I have. So it's always a slippery slope when it comes to things like that. And it should be something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And I know it's going to be something that's always going to divide this country in half. And that's fine. We can have difference of opinions. But when you get these Christian radicals that are out there, trying to make buildings go boom, or you got these leftist radicals who are out there trying to say that it's if they want to go ahead and terminate it at month 7, unless there's a medical reasoning behind it, that should not be allowed. Hey, there goes my axolotl. I don't know if y'all see my axolotl up there swimming. That's my little homie back there. That's Sal. But anywho, that's just my point of view on that. And let's see. Another thing that was brought up during the quote unquote interview was Tim Waltz. Tim Waltz and his talking about his career in the military. All right. So what I tripped out on that discussion was he doubled down on it. He doubled down on it. And when asked, like, why did you say you carried weapons of war or the same type of weapons that you carried in war? He could have just said, like, hey, you know what? I was past. Well, he could have said, I lied. That's what he could have said because he's never been to war. Never, ever, ever. The only time that he carried a weapon of war in a war was probably when he went to NTC or JRTC for training. And, that was simulated combat. So let's be real on that one. He never deployed, but he doubled down, saying that just like a typical 13 Bravo, he gave you one of those tap dancing ass answers, saying that he did it as a miss his grammar. What was it that he said? My grammar isn't that good. We can tell. We can tell. Just like your typical 13 Bravo, man. He gave you that answer. And that fool is Jesus Christ. That fool is just somebody that I don't understand, bro. Just say it, man. Hey, I was lying because I wanted to get voted on. You know what I mean? And I apologize. I shouldn't have said those words. But no, they don't want to go and accept that. I don't understand, man. Can somebody tell me, what do you always have these fools that are exaggerating their service, which you're going to tap on later on, by the way. We're going to tap on that here in a few. But that was the Kamala interview, man. And I tell you, if it's anything that I learned is that some people, they just ain't that good, like you said. And that leads down to what it's going to be like, when they go on to the debates. Are they going to be challenged on their stances on why they said things? I think I really want to see the debate between JD Vance and Tim Walz. Never have I ever wanted to see two veterans debate as much as I want to see those two cats. But I mean, apparently there was this thing going on where they were saying that Trump wanted to quit on the debate, that he didn't want to debate. And it was because Kamala was trying to change up the rules, all right, as to the debates. I don't know how y'all feel about this, but apparently, like, she wanted to make changes, and he's like, well, why don't we just keep the same debate rules that we had with CNN? But she's like, oh, well, I want the hot mics and all this crap. And he's honestly, at the end of the day, he said he doesn't care. He wanted to move it from ABC because what sucks is that she doesn't want to commit to any other debates outside of the realm of where she's comfortable at. Now, I got to give it up to Trump on this one. This fool went to one of the most anti-conservative networks, which is CNN. We all know who they support. And if you didn't know, if you didn't see those softball questions they asked Kamala, come on now. But when Trump was on there, it was hostile as hell. But he went on there. And I will say that it was a pretty fair debate. I like the way that they handled it. It was fair. And Trump did his thing. Trump did his thing on there. Biden, he didn't really have to do much because Biden just self-imploded, But with that said, now, that ABC has said that the rules will stay as they were already agreed upon, and they're going to be the same rules as they were on CNN. Now Kamala is having a shit fit because she's not getting her way. You know what I mean? And honestly, I think that Kamala needs to fucking stop making this into a debate debacle. All right? Agree to the terms and just roll with it. You know what I mean? You're going to cackle. It's going to happen. I can't wait to see your, I'm talking, sir. I'm speaking. And anytime you speak, at least speak the truth or speak something that makes sense. Don't be out there with some motherfucking word salad that makes no sense. All right. What's the trip is that Trump even said, like, he'd rather move it to NBC. He'd rather move it to CBS. And he said to him, CBS is like the worst of the worst, but even they would do a better job than, ABC. But, at the end of the day, they're going to be doing it at ABC pending the acceptance by the Kamala cronies, I guess you could say. Good morning, anti-ghetto. Good morning, anti-ghetto. Wow, what's wrong being in the ghetto, man? I mean, anti-ghetto. Can you get help? Oh, man. Good morning. Good morning. So let's see what else we got. What else is on topic? What else do I want to talk about the debates? Oh, so yeah, and this is all over because of the hot mics. Look, we all know that Trump is somebody who is known for just dropping some retarded shit when the mics are on, But it is what it is. They should let some of us low-class Americans ask questions, see how they answer. Well, first of all, don't call yourself low class. Don't call yourself low class, big dog. You're not low class. I know you from the bayous of Louisiana, from the Cajun country, but you ain't low class, big dog. Now, if you're talking like in financial or social economic, you're working class, but don't call yourself low class. Working class, my man. Those terms like that, like low class, high class, nah, man, we're working class. Because when you put yourself in that low class categorization, you start thinking less of yourself. Don't let them dictate who you are. Being working class is not a bad thing. Being working class is, you just have to work a little bit harder. You have your working class, you have your let's have the middle class, and it should be the hardworking. I mean, all of us are hard workers, but I know what you're saying, big dog. And they should let us ask questions, and they probably will. Being that it's live, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have like some kind of Twitter crap. But the problem with that is, they're gonna have to moderate it as far as like what questions can be asked and what can't be asked. Like, let's be honest. That CNN interview. I'm gonna go back to the Kamala interview. Where's the rest of the fucking interview? I want to know where it's at because that shit was spliced and diced. I don't care how much that lady says that they short it in its entirety. Nah, homie. You're gonna tell me that you only got 18 minutes of questions and answers from her? Come on now. And honestly, I wonder if they didn't provide her the questions before she even got there. It wouldn't be the first time CNN does something like this. Just saying. Think Clinton. They did that with Clinton. So yeah, that's where we're going with that one, man. And if anything, as far as mics being turned off, leave them on, leave them off. It doesn't really matter. I think that the majority of the United States has already decided who they're going to vote for. You know, and if they haven't, I think the one thing that would have made a difference is going to be the one thing that probably made a difference last week would have been the what's that word I'm looking for? It would have been the endorsements that Trump got by RFK Jr. and as well as by Tulsi Gabbard. I think that those were important endorsements to get specifically because they see that the Democrat Party is going in a direction that the rest of the country doesn't want to go. The rest of the Democrats don't want to go. I guarantee you talk to a lot of Democrats, they'll say that they're only voting Democrat because they're voting against Trump, not because they believe in the the candidate that they have up there. And I think that that is something that needs to be definitely discussed. Because at the end of the day, if you're just voting on somebody because you don't like the other candidate, don't even go vote. You know, I mean, you're if I didn't like any of Trump's policies, I wouldn't vote for Trump. If I was split between Kamala's policies and Trump's policies, or if there were policies that I agreed with more on Kamala's side, I will vote for Kamala. But I just honestly don't agree with her, and I just have issues with her in total. Do you think there will be a revolution if Kamala wins? Well, not in a revolution, honestly, Auntie. I don't think it'll be a revolution as far as we perceive it as like we would think like a civil war action or anything like that, or like where there'll be a rise to arms. I don't think so. I think what would happen is you would have a lot of people who would definitely be protesting that, would definitely be saying that it was stolen. Um, and it's because the government tends to do things like this to keep us divided. And I think the revolution that would happen would be politically. It will be a political revolution that occurs versus a a revolution with its people. Now, at the end of the day, we're Americans. We're freaking Americans. And to cause a revolution in a state that you'd be almost wanting to stage a coup type deal, and that wouldn't happen. I just think there's a lot of fear mongering going on, making it sound like the world's gonna end. There wasn't one last time. There wasn't a revolution last time, and he ceded the powers. He gave him, he gave up the seat. What would come of it? Why would we want to destroy our country even more? We're still at a point that we haven't gone past where we can still make positive changes. I don't think Kamala's going to win. I honestly don't think she's going to win, especially with the more and more that she shows who her true self is. She's not going to win. And she might win the popular vote, but luckily, thank God, we don't use the popular vote in this country, because then every single presidency would be decided by the East Coast and the West Coast. And the Midwest, the South, nobody would get any representation. I do believe, though, that there will be a revolution as far as like our policies, as far as like if she was to get in power, I could see her wanting to push bills, but it all depends on who is voted for in the Senate, in Congress, who you're as well as, because thank God we have that division of powers. You know what I mean? She could only preside. She could try to influence things. She can only has so much power with the executive orders. The problem that I have with Kamala is the empty suit that she is, and that she would continue to support these endless wars that we have going on that have nothing to do with us at this time. Nothing whatsoever. And that's the problem that I have with Kamala. Kamala needs to go. I'm sorry. I mean, she's no good for our country. And again, this is my opinion. It's my uninformed opinion, as I always tell people. So, and everyone is entitled to their opinions. I mean, if you're a Kamala supporter, hey, I welcome you to come on here and explain to me why. You know, Off topic, but are we still in Syria? You know what? That's a very good question. Let's go ahead and look that up. Let's go ahead and look that up. Let's see. Is the U.S. still involved? Okay. No, not Iraq. Syria. So let's see. The U.S. currently continues to support the Syrian rebels and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces opposed to both the Islamic State and Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So that's according to what I'm seeing here. Let me see what else I can find on there. Let's see. Department of State. Here we go. This is from October. I don't want to see anything from October 2023. Let's see. I know what we are involved in is Ukraine, and we shouldn't be involved in that whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever. We shouldn't be supplying our arms to them. I was watching something, and I want to see if I could pull it up. And if I could pull it up, it's gonna blow some minds away, man. It's a RFK Jr. So let's see if I can find it. It's RFK Jr. talking about our policies that are pretty much making money for BlackRock. And dude, I hope I can find it. I really, really hope. Why am I on TikTok? I wasn't looking for TikTok. I was looking for X to the Z. And let me see. Did I email it to myself? RFK Jr. BlackRock. All right, here we go. I think this is the one. So let's go ahead. I want to listen to this one. It's a couple of minutes long, So bear with me. Let me know if you guys can hear it, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and listen to a bit of RFK Jr. And I think he was a game changer. Him and Tulsi Gabbard, I think, are game changers for Trump, given that they left the Democrat Party because they saw which way it was going, and they're bringing with them the moderate thinking, leaning Democrats, both RFK Jr. and Tulsi. So let me know if you guys can hear this. All right.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war the Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big, big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
Check this out.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine, it's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainian kids, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies?
BlackRock.
And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us.
They don't even
care that we know anymore.
Nope.
Because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other.
Mm-hmm.
They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
So that right there, man, was eye-opening for me. That we get so busy worrying about what tie or what color tie a person's wearing instead of asking the real questions of like, why are they fucking purposely keeping us at odds against each other? Wag the dog, baby. Wag the dog, man. And I tell you, I mean, these types of distractions are coming down all over the place. I mean, it's funny, like TikTok, I think has become like the most divisive social media platform I've ever seen. I normally tend to stay off of TikTok because to me it just sounds like a kid's type of place to be at. I mean, the first time I had heard of TikTok I was I it was because my daughter was on it. This is before blew up. My daughter was on TikTok doing silly little dances. You know what I mean? And now there's adults, grown ass adults that that's why we wear dog tags. I feel you on that one, big dog. I feel you on that. You know, but now we have grown ass adults out there getting into arguments about the most ridiculous type of, oh my god, I can't even say, check it. I don't know, like, you know what trips me out? What trips me out is that hell yeah, roof baby, roof. But what trips me out about TikTok, it's become a dick measuring contest. You know what I'm saying? It's become a big fucking dick measuring contest. Now even it's gotten down to dividing us so much that we're now dividing ourselves within the veteran community. All right. Look, I've never hit it. I am what they considered a vet bro. 100%. I am a vet bro. But it's now gotten to the point where the discussion is, what's a combat veteran? All right. What is a combat veteran is now the discussion over in TikTok land. And it's so stupid to me. It really is. Let's see. So you measure from the base or the back? Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I measure from the bottom, brother. From the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Because you could push a little bit down, and hey, I'm happy with what God blessed me with. You know what I'm saying? God blessed me, but I'll say I'm a grower, not a shower. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all tap and hit that like button, by the way. Let's hit that like button. Let's let the algorithm know we are here, baby. Hell yeah. Hey, dog, we got to do what we got to do. Luckily, I'm already married, so I don't have that problem anymore. You know what I'm saying? Plus, a wise man once told me it's all about the girth as well. You know what I'm saying? You could have a long ass spaghetti string, but it ain't doing shit if you ain't hitting them walls, baby. You got to have that motherfucking soda can too, But yeah, dog, it's funny because it's now become. Oh, what a Kramer come and say? What if there's no measurement small enough? Asking for a friend as well. All right, so look, man, as you got fingers, right? You got fingers, baby. Let them do their magic. Let them do their magic inside. Get that spot and make sure you know, play with that little homie that's under the hood. Once you get them two going, you're good, bro. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You just got to know how to handle them things. But with that, dude, it's become a dick measuring contest, honestly, out there within the TikTok community and the military community, as far as what is a combat veteran. I did a video about this one dude who I've dubbed the Wes Watson of the military. And the reason for that is because this character here, he's out there talking about, sharing his disability ratings, and I don't know why. I mean, if he's trying to impress people with what he can do, but he had said something along the lines of, come trigger my PTSD and find out for yourself or whatnot. I know he wasn't talking to me; he was talking to somebody else. But you know, first of all, dude, you shouldn't be putting your information out there like that because it's going to get scrutinized by people like myself. And are you talking about the guy that you showed? Yeah, man, that's him. Exactly him. Apparently, the dude lives out in New Jersey. But what's going on here, y'all? I mean, look, be proud of your service. Be proud of your service. Not everybody, according to the DOD, apparently, according to the VA, if you deploy to a place where you get paid for imminent danger or, hazardous duty pay or combat pay, as we say, then you're a combat veteran. Okay, fine. I'll play your game with that. But the problem that I have with that is, well, let's see. What was that dude's name with the thick ass glasses that Top Britain had arrested when he became when with thick ass glasses when he came back from being AWOL? Shit. Oh man, I don't even remember, dog. That was a long ass time. Oh man. Hey, what's going on, Cryptid? How y'all doing today? Cryptid, I gotta tap in and watch some of your your reviews on Alien. Just to let you know, Cryptid, you got me right now wanting to fucking binge all the Alien movies leading up to watching the most new one. Let's see, because majority of military members who have PTSD won't even speak on it or keep it to themselves. 100% Kramer, right there. You nailed it on the head, bro. A lot of people don't be discussing that shit, and the ones that do are fake about it. So, Gangland, Swift Poe, what's going on, Swift? How you doing today? Thanks for being here. Do me a favor, can y'all tap that like button, please? Tap that like button, and I will really appreciate it, man. Remember when he came to PT with a boot and a bro, we've talked about him many a times here. That is our good old man Freeman. Freeman with the free bots, bro. He's the one that so just to give y'all a little bit of a run back on Freeman. Lola, get out of there. Get your ass over here. Freeman, this idiot Freeman decided to go out there. He moved on post, fellas. All right. He moved on post and he went AWOL. But before we go to that, this genius showed up late to PT one day. And when asked about Freeman, why are you late? He claims, I was randomed at the gate. Now, for those that don't know, that is a very private, I'll say that's a very E1 to E4 excuse as to why you're late formation, because you got randomed at the gate. What that means is that while you were coming through the gate, you got randomly selected to be inspected, and they check your vehicle. The unfortunate part for this genius was that this idiot lived on base. He lived on post. So he got cut out like, Freeman, you live on post, dog. How are you going to be random? He was the dumbest. I mean, a sack of rocks is smarter than that genius. Good fucking night, man. Aren't roids, PEDs a big thing in the military? Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Thank you for bringing that one up, Swift. Shout out to the homie Swift for asking that question. Yes, they are. All right. I can tell you, I knew of a lot of motherfuckers out there when we were in Mosul. In our Mosul, and even in our Baghdad deployment, there were a lot of cats that were getting those performance enhancing drugs to get swole. You know what I mean? They weren't doing it the natural way. They weren't doing a lot of dudes that there weren't a lot of dudes that were trying to do it the earn it way. They were literally injecting their asses, and you could tell, dude, because they started growing fucking all those goddamn pimples on their back and shit like that. I'm sorry, but I heard that the downfall to that is that you go from being schlong to be and I'm good, baby. I will take my naturally gained muscles, which I've lost, versus a small, eeny, weeny, itty bitty, short man. Fuck that. What stood up to me with that guy is, why would you show your personal medical records on a video clip? Never heard of OPSEC. Well, it's not even an OPSEC thing. It's HIPAA. It's HIPAA, man. And there's this big outlash going on right now on the TikTok sphere with this dude named Older Millennial, and they're trying to get at him because supposedly he exposed some dude named Gingerbread Man or some shit. I don't know what the hell his name is. But this ginger guy, Ginger Jolly Gingerbread Man, whatever his name is, he's out there saying that, if you were in a combat theater, you're a combat veteran. And I know this is a big thing to people because they want to have that moment of glory. Like, they think it's like the 300. Look, man, if that's what makes you sleep better at night, saying that you're a combat veteran, fine, bro. Fine. But in my honest opinion, if you didn't do anything that is combat related, hence fire your weapon at someone other than fucking Fast Freddy at the range, or, be involved in combat operations where you got a boom that occurred in around your vicinity, not fucking 300 or 400 meters away, then you're not, bro. Unless you were engaged or actively engaging the enemy, you're not a combat veteran. That's just my opinion. But there's a lot of people saying, well, according to AR 670-1, the shoulder sleeve insignia. Okay, the combat patch. It's called a combat patch because you were in a combat theater. All right. Not because you saw combat. Plain and simple. So you're a veteran of a foreign war, bro, but you're not a combat veteran. All right. That's just my opinion. You disagree with me? That's cool, man. It's just how I feel about it. So, but yeah, back to the roids things, man. I remember there was a lot of cats that I saw that for some reason they just needed to get that fixed, bro. I get, I was one of those that used the stacks. You know what I'm saying? Like I did the when I was in Mosul, I was doing the No Explode. No Explode was my shit. You know what I mean? I would fucking take that in and bam, just go get my pump on. I never fixed my run. I'll tell you that. Sophia, get these goddamn dogs. They're going to the bathroom. They're going in your room. Let's see. That's my opining, but there's things that are for military community to check them fools because civilians aren't going to the door. Exactly, bro. Exactly with you. I am 100% with you on that. And that's the biggest thing when fools be trying to stick out their chest like, oh, I did this, I did that. No, you didn't, homie. No, you didn't. And it to me, it pisses me off because look, in my first unit, there was one specific person that we all know that, he may have embellished his services and added things to his uniform that were unearned. And that one really pissed me off because what it does to me, what it makes me feel is like, okay, you think that your service wasn't enough to be proud of. You know what I mean? Shit, the fact that you signed the dotted line, putting yourself willingly into a position that you could lose your life, that should be more than enough to be proud of, bro. There's no need for you to go out there and exaggerate any type of service. Shit. How many times did I roll up and down Irish? A fuckload of times. Anybody that was with me on 277 at a Fort Carson, at a Fort Hood, that 2005, 2006 deployment. I don't know how many times we rolled up and down fucking Irish. Thankfully, never got blown up. Got shot at a fuckload of times, but never got blown up. And Irish was known as the most dangerous road in the world. Now, I can honestly go out there and make up stories as to, why I could go and exaggerate stories like, oh yeah, we got blown up on Route Irish and blah blah blah. But why? Why would I do that? Just knowing the fact that I was on that route, got blasted it a few times, that should be more than enough. I mean, but no, motherfucker want to go, oh, I remember there was this boom, boom, boom. One thing I remember, shit, Palfy. I remember you guys were on a convoy and you spotted the motherfucking IED before it went off, thankfully. You know what I'm saying? You were a hell of an IED motherfucking hunter, baby. All right. I hate to say it, but us as veterans, we have to keep each other in check so we don't disrespect the uniform and service. And that's the thing, bro. Like it's more of a veteran thing that is divided on this shit. But even the active duties are getting involved in it now. Like, dude, it's just a fucking get rid of the goddamn combat patch. Call it what it is. It's the fucking shoulder sleeve insignia for overseas service or some shit like that. But we called it the combat patch. The generations before us did. And here's the funny thing. You know what fucking what pissed me off was when I was in JRTC back in 2000 and shit 11, I think it was. They told the fools that were coming in for 101st that they couldn't wear their combat patch or to take them off because they were making some of the fucking new privates or the new soldiers feel like, they were less than. Then you know what? Just get rid of them all. Get rid of them all. It's fucking embarrassing. It's fucking stupid. We're not the goddamn Boy Scouts of America, where we need a goddamn merit badge for everything we do or everything we've seen. Because motherfuckers that have been out there and seen shit and done shit, they don't really fucking discuss it unless they're amongst their other fucking homies that can relate. You know, it's not like they're doing anyway. I'm gonna jump into some other shit. Let's see. Only way to redeem himself is to re-enlist in the guard part-time. Who's that, dog? Who's that, Swift? Who needs to re-enlist and do their guard part-time? The last briefing we got in Iraq before going home was leave the fobbits alone. The civilians were all war heroes. So no making fun of the top guys and the mechanics that never went out. Bro, found like 3 and we even cleared the road before. Exactly, dog. You know what's a trip? Like I remember shit going down a route, what was it, Tampa? Was it Tampa all the way down to fucking what the fuck was that place called, man? Al Hilla the Killer. You know, and you just accept that you might fucking die on that route. You know, it is what it is. Look, I never found any, and none of them ever found me. So fuck that place. The one I found because we rolled over it and it was on top, but it didn't go off. It's crazy, right? It's fucking crazy. Combat patches are fine, but if you got a IEB or cab, people want to be a New York combat vet. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about the CIB. Let's see, Tampa or Temple. Route Tampa. Tampa was a beast. Al Hilla, yes sir. Route, any route, Pluto, route Y. Oh, bro, Pluto was black. Pluto was fucking black when we were there. Route Wild, yeah, we hit Route Wild all the time because that's the way you got out to the east side. Remember, Route Wild was right there in Baghdad, where that big ass traffic circle was. We had the 5 arteries. Fuck that. I mean, the one place that we hated was on Route Wild, right after the traffic circle, there was a tunnel. You know, you remember that there was a tunnel right afterwards if you were going towards like Solder City, and fucking we called that the tunnel of love, and we avoided that tunnel at every instant because we knew that they were waiting for us to hit that shit, boom, and blow us the fuck up. Thankfully, we never went through it. I was scared as shit having to go through that tunnel. Thankfully, we never went through there, man. But yeah, Route Wild all the time. Route Pluto was black when we were there. We did skirt along Route Pluto when we went to where was it? Butler Range. There was some place called Butler Range. We had to go out there and fuck that place too. Let's see. We took over security on Route Wild from tankers 164, I think, and it was a mess. Yeah, fucking 164. They're out of 4th ID as well. Right? I think 164, aren't they at a 4th ID? Or were they at a 3rd ID? I can't remember. 164. Why does that sound so fucking familiar? I think they were 3rd ID, right? 164. Tampa was where the 101st unit got kidnapped because they that girl and burned her family. Oh, damn. I forgot about that one, dog. Oh, man. Oh, man. I really, really forgot about that one. I was in Lutafia and Mamadia, the Triangle of Death, and the Kilo sectors were jammed with IEDs. I did Route Pluto security for like a year. Holy God. Yeah, Route Pluto was fucking. We were black on that one. We were black on Pluto. Pluto was a definite no go. Give me 1 second, fellas. Y'all talk amongst each other. I got a phone call coming in. All right, I am back. Hey, fellas, I'm gonna have to wrap this one up right now. As always, thanks for being here with me. Before you know what, tonight I want to go ahead and maybe do a live again, and I want to talk about the Aurora situation, or maybe I'll do a video on the Aurora situation. With that said, though, I do gotta head out. I appreciate y'all being here. You guys are definitely the homies for being here. Thank y'all. I love talking with y'all. It's straight up gunline shit, man. And everybody on here, you guys are the shit. Now I see what you're saying. Tim Waltz. Yeah, Tim Waltz. Tim Waltz is a fucking moron. We all know he's a moron. And that motherfucker needs to stop saying he was a combat veteran or a fucking deployed in support of anything, because he didn't deploy anywhere. Palfy, Kramer, Cryptid, fucking Swift, everybody that came on here, thank you very much. Before y'all dip out, do me a favor, you can hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, man. I gotta get the fuck out of here now because I gotta go and get lunch. Not for me, but for the old lady. And yeah. If you guys are catching this on the recap, let me know what y'all think, and we have a good one. With that said, that's been your word on the streets today. And you know what? I'll do a word on the streets regarding Aurora. All right. With that said, I'll catch y'all later, homies. Deuces.